the best of 5. Let's see what the players are going to bring to the table. As to the top left-hand side, the red Zerg player from Team Expert. We just saw his opponent, his teammate, sorry, MMA, falling out of the competition. To the top left is Bly. He's going up against the yellow Zerg player to the bottom right from Splice, Solar. As one drone comes down at the low ground, we'll start up that hatchery first. So that's going to be on the way up here already, as Overlord's just going to come on through and cross on by in the next few moments. The early game is not going to be too aggressive. Neither player being gas pool or pool first, anything like that. Just hatch gas pool a piece or hatch pool on Bly's side of thing. No gas, so maybe he goes hatch pool hatch, but he actually does throw the gas down now. So a slightly faster pool from gas, slightly later gas from Bly, slightly later gas does put us in this position where we are waiting to see what will be the real kind of playstyle here. Do we see faster third hatcheries? What exactly is going to be the choice of play in this one? Bly vs Solar on Artana, a map by Iron Man. If you're unaware of Iron Man, he is a map maker who made Ohana back in the day, and has been tuned into a lot of these streams, of course, to try and catch his map being played. I really do feel as though the first couple of days Artana showed us some of the stronger games of the tournament. Unfortunately, he had a couple of cheesier games more recently, but we'll see what happens here on the ZvZ, as we're going to be seeing link speed starting to come up from Solar, and the drones just getting into the natural to start mining away once again. So, obviously Artana is a fairly standard map. That's the category it comes in from. You get down in towards this third base, which is on the low ground. Fairly easy to hold because of, again, choke points into it. Now in ZvZ, that's maybe not as much of an issue. Choke points for Lings doesn't matter too much, but if it gets to the Roach stage, it definitely could become a bit of something as Bly. We might not even try and let it get there already. A lair on the way for him in the main, and that's a very fast lair. I mean, what could we be looking towards? A super fast Spire is obviously one of the things that could come on. And if it wasn't a super fast Spire, it could very well be a super fast Nidus network, and then a Roach coming down at a similar time to kind of set up as, although he's going to let this Zerglin into the main base though, and that's disastrous because now information is gained. He saves this drone, which is very well done, but letting Solar see the lair, I mean, that just gives Solar so much information already about what's going to be going on. Bly is skipping Ling speed for this, and so Solar knows his third hatchery is going to be under no pressure at all. He throws down an Evo chamber, and Solar's just going to be like, okay, cool, well, you know, I've got a couple of choices. I can either pressure with my Ling speed, but do I need to? As long as I keep you off a third hatchery, then I don't really need to, right? You know, I can maybe just make a couple of Lings to keep you off a third, but other than that, I can just drone, and now he's just going to rescout as well. Knowing the possibilities are there, he just wants to double check which possibility is going to be the actual commitment, and he sees that Spire in the back of this main base, and seeing that Spire in the back of the main, well, obviously that just straight up says to him, right, well, Mutalisks. From the get-go, immediately starts +1 Carapace, which is actually a really cool choice because obviously Mutas are going to be doing a lot of attacking, while Solar is going to be doing a lot of being attacked by Mutas, and so the Carapace upgrade will benefit his Lings, it'll benefit his Roaches when he gets them, Hydras, it just benefits every unit. The Queens will take more shots to go down, and that really will be a great way to go about it, and yeah, just that scout in general will allow Solar to just start preparing for those Mutas from quite a while away now, as we're going to be seeing this hatchery coming down in the bottom left-hand corner. So hatchery is coming on up. As we see more of these Zerglings from Solar, just setting up just outside, trying to run on in, as we're going to be seeing the Roach and Evo Chambers coming up now, and Bly perhaps trying to fake this out a little bit, start up the melee upgrade. He's got Ling speed and Lings of his own on the way through. He actually doesn't do anything with the Spire just yet. There we go, 4 Mutalisks on the way. Maybe trying to fake this up to Roaches, but it is going to be a Roach commitment actually. He does start at +1 missiles, so he is going to go into Roaches eventually here, cancelling that melee upgrade. And we're just going to be seeing these Queens continue to poke their way through the Overlord, pushing it all the way back through the center of the map. So Overlord taking quite a bit of damage, and it will fall. Because again, those Zerglings just sat out the front to try and see what they can maybe add into this here. Seeing Mutas coming out as well, and Going to be pushing those Zerglings back down to the south side of the map. So the Zerglings on the way back down to the south. This Roach Warren is on its way from Solar, who's obviously just been building Carapace. He'll be behind on the missile upgrade. And we'll see what he can maybe do about it. And of course, we'll see from Bly whether those mutas are going to do enough for him to put him in a good spot here. He's got that bottom left-hand base, which he is starting to drone from. And that's obviously his kind of comeback mechanism for not having a hatchery for so long. As Solar is checking for a third and he doesn't see it, he's going to be like, huh, why on earth don't you have a third base? Because that's just not really normal, as these mutas are going to pull back up top, knowing that those lings are around, and wants to try and chase them back home. Roach is on the way up from Bly. 47 drones, and he might just be committing to a large attack here in the near future. Although he starts up a few more workers himself, so it looks as though he is looking to macro, despite what really could be actually quite a powerful +1 Roach speed timing, if he wanted it to be. You know, Hydraless Den's coming down from Soul, and if he overcommits into Hydras while Bly goes for a Roach attack, it will set him behind. It will put him in a position where it becomes difficult to defend the Roaches, because Hydras in low numbers, as you begin to invest into them, are just so vulnerable. And I wonder if Bly does commit into it now, because this Zergling is going to find the bottom left base. It's going to become very difficult for Bly to keep this alive, and if he can't keep this alive, I feel like going for an attack might be his better option here in the long run. He just finished up some Overlords. He's still got money in the bank, but that's the issue. It's in the bank. It's not already been spent. He's going to start Burrow upgrade, Tunneling Claws, and the +2 missiles, so all of the continued Roach upgrades here. Bly, though, goes down to 2 hatcheries. 6 workers killed as well in that bottom left base, and now the 3rd hatchery, which is on the way back up to this top side, well, that's going to be targeted as well. So that drone does go down, and we're just going to be seeing a nice pickup here by Solar. Very nicely done, as again, the muta's coming back up to the top, and just going to be seeing the Queen and a few Roaches going to fight their way through a few more Zerglings as more Roaches to the bottom side. Well, they're getting turned away without any success at all. Not able to break on through, and just going to be pulling back. And again, into the center. So, Bly backing away and is, again, not finding himself the damage commitment just yet. Now, yesterday we saw Solar in Group D of the competition. He was playing against Snoot in the ZvZ. It was the first matchup of the day. It was a pretty darn good first matchup of the day, if I'm going to be honest. But Solar really did just look a level ahead of Snoot, and that's scary for Bly because, well, basically this happened. I mean, okay, Bly, you know, Snoot didn't do crazy things like try and rush mutas and then hide a hatchery and stuff like that. That's the sort of thing that's put Bly behind in this game. But the situation looked very similar, where Solar was just up so heavily in workers, so heavily in army. You know, he might have been behind on an upgrade here by a few seconds, but it didn't matter because he just had so much of everything else. He was just completely on point with his production, with his macroing, and that was really kind of terrifying to see, because I really feel like whoever meets Solar in this bracket is going to have a tough time, and obviously Bly is unfortunately the first to meet him outside of the groups. As you do see this hatchery cancelled again, and Bly still just being kept to 2 bases for now, unable to do much more as well. Solar, here we go. Roaches and Hydras push out into the middle of the map. They're going to be starting to get into an aggressive position. I mean, Hydra Speed Muscular Organs didn't even finish yet, and he's already pushing in towards this top side. Bly is going to have a small upgrade lead in the sense that he's going to have a missile upgrade +2 over +1 missiles and +1 Carapace. +1 Carapace is just not quite as effective as a +2 missile, so it's definitely a better upgrade to have the extra missiles. Bly is actually across the map. Maybe he can do something weird here like base trade this, but he's going to lose the Roach Warren very quickly. He's going to have a Lurker Den finishing. He's got some Hydras hidden to the side. If he could get some Lurkers up, maybe there's a possibility. The problem is across the map, he's getting shut down as well. So he's not even going to do much damage over here. And Bly knows that the Lurkers are not going to be enough of a savior for him. He types out the GG, and Solar will take the first map of this quarterfinal matchup. And the love does help to continue, for us to continue streaming. As we kick off into game number 2. To the bottom right-hand side of Dreamcatcher, a map by Time, or VSG, he submitted this map as for this event, but also the maker of Catalina. To the bottom right-hand side, the red Zerg is Bly from Team Expert. And to the upper left-hand side, the yellow Zerg player from Splice. Hatch first on each side of the map, it is Solar. Alright, Dreamcatcher. A map here which is very much so just in general interesting. You can get these 4 bases set up very easily. You have this kind of wall off area. And you also have these rocks that can be taken down as well to create this blockade at the front. And then it kind of only leaves you with very choky areas to attack into, so it can get interesting. I wonder if we'll see this go past Ling Bane phase of the game, because if it does, it would be rather exciting, but could also kind of go very long. So we'll see what the players want to create with this right now. Kind of interesting, you have this kind of different sort of symmetry to usual, where the map is obviously symmetric from top right through to bottom left, and it's creates this kind of a little bit of a different effect, I suppose. And what we saw a lot of, well, what I feel as though we'd see a lot of if we did see a longer game on this is, if one player expands up top, they can make their way towards the gold, but it opens up this pathway up the top where your opponent's going to be able to attack towards you. Whereas if you attack, if you expand down this way, down to the south, you really start to just expand away from your opponent, or you become kind of cross-map from him down here as well. Yeah, very interesting. The bases are very spread out on this map as well, as we do see a difference in build orders once again between the players, although similar to the last game perhaps. Bly is not starting up his Ling speed, although no lair for him just yet either. Maybe he starts that up in a moment or two as we approach the 3-minute marker. Meanwhile, Soil goes into Ling speed, goes in towards the Baneland Nest as well. I'm just going to see the Evolution Chamber coming up on each side. Roach Roaring drops down as well here from Bly, and a couple of Zerglings going to be moving out onto the map. So he's just going to go straight into the Roach Roaring Evo Chamber lair. Just going to bypass that Ling speed, and if he can get away with it, it will give him a small advantage. The thing is, already Solar starting up the third hatchery, and I mean, this is kind of a interesting one, because when you do skip straight up to Roaches, the problem is players know how to play against it so well nowadays. And they know, okay, I'm going to take my third hatchery earlier. I'm going to make sure you don't take your own third hatchery. I know just to go straight into Roaches, not overmake Zerglings or anything, not try and punish this. As you're just going to be seeing the Carapace upgrade once again from Solo. So he wants to keep the Lings kind of strong in the early game, while pushing up towards a set of Roaches later on perhaps. As the lair comes up, we've not seen anything of this Roach-Roaring Evo Chamber setup. And if triple gas now taken, maybe Bly is just going to throw down the Spire. No, 6 Roaches start. So it is indeed Roaches, but again, no +1 attack upgrade. And that could be the interesting part of this. So maybe Roach speed and he just goes for an attack. Maybe Nidus still. Maybe he could just Nidus this. And there it is, Nidus Network comes down. Makes the most sense here in the end, I suppose, that Nidus Network will, as it comes up, of course, open access towards harassment into the main base. Very strong timings in which Solar is currently not ready to defend, right? Because he doesn't have a Roach Roaring. He's just getting the Baneland Nest up, and the Ling's currently out of position on the map. This could really hurt for him here. As you see those Lings pulling back. One Zerglin already picked off here by Bly, and again the creep just continue to push on out. Creep tumors obviously going to be not really. It's always weird in ZvZ whether you take creep or not, because it's one of those things where it's like, well, you know, sometimes the creep's very useful for me, and sometimes it just doesn't do anything. In this case, it's going to probably help Bly more than it helps Solar, because he's going to be able to, actually, as he gets the Roaches out of here, move on to creep very easily and start moving between the bases with that speed advantage because his opponent's given him it. Obviously, Solar wants it though because it makes life easier to defend. And here we go, Bly pushes in, and we're going to be seeing a lot of Zerglings right now to fight against this. The Queen's here as well to try and help fight, and we're going to be seeing another Queen and Roach popping out. Bane's coming in, could make the difference here, of course, but they go up and not too much splash damage done. That's a bit better splash damage on the last couple, as they do manage to really squeeze their way into the middle of the Roaches there towards the latter stages. Now pushing up this ramp in towards the natural here. Bly still trying to do something, as we're going to be seeing the Queen's desperately going to be part of this defense from Solar. More Roaches coming through from Bly. Feels like he can't get them soon enough, as he still has his Queens, albeit with not really enough energy to transfuse. They are still around, they're still able to add a little bit of something to this fight, but Bly is slowly but surely being picked away. I mean, here come the extra Roaches. Will that make the difference now? I mean, I don't really think so. As you're going to see the Lings coming in again and getting that surround. Queen's still fighting away against this, and again another set of Roaches. It's definitely not over yet. There's still some possibilities here. He did get Roach speed in the end, so he has that possibility of moving a lot faster with the Roaches than he might usually expect. And does he jump back into the Nidus? Does he feel he's done enough? He's on equal workers, but down at base, I think he definitely needs to do more. As you're going to see one Queen already picked off. The second Queen goes down quickly as well. And now we just see those roaches are still just back and forth. Bly does not want to give this up. He really needs to break Solar here because he can just see, again, the lack of a hatchery. That's an investment which is going to slow him down. He also lacks upgrades as well moving forward. We see those Banes starting to connect and bringing those roaches down to lower health. Makes it so much easier for those Zerglings to shut down. Suddenly the roach numbers are dropping kind of quickly. And Solar get enough up, though. He's still down to supply by about, or army supply especially, by about 20. As Roach is moving forwards, the Queen gets picked off once again. You can see another Baneling getting taken down too. These drones joining the fight is going to be seeing another couple of Queens going to be going down. So 2 more Queens picked off. I'm just going to be seeing these drones also disappearing. Bly seems to have done enough here. He seems to have broken through. I mean, his army supply is growing. He's stabilizing on this side of the map. And Solar just does not have enough. Bly is able to tie up the series 1-1 against... So much for the subscription. Let's jump into game 3 of this series. It's tied up 1-1 between Bly and Solar here. Well, I kind of want to hear from you guys who you think is going to take this one. Now, I mean, okay, you know, I think Solar was definitely a heavy favorite coming into this, and I still think Solar is going to be able to clutch this one out. I mean, his ZvZ's looked monstrous lately, taking down Scarlet and a laser in online events, 3-0 Snoot yesterday. I mean, he's playing Bly, who definitely can catch him off guard with a Nidus network here or there. But I think Solar is still going to take this. But let me know if you think differently. Let me know if you agree in the chat. We have to the bottom left-hand side the the yellow Zerg player. Oh my god, this is going to be really terrible. This is Solar. This is going to be really bad because I think the colors are going to tint in a way that's going to make it very difficult to tell which player is which color, as Bly is in the top right-hand side of the map. So, hatch gas pool appears here once again, or not gas from Solar. Oh man, this is going to get confused, isn't it? Like, even the overlords are the same color. This map has a very weird kind of lighting effect, which kind of makes everything kind of faded and like grayscaled a little bit. But I don't think it's going to work too well for the ZvZ. I just didn't really think about this. Red versus yellow was working fine in the previous maps, but now it might be a very different story. But we'll try our best, guys. Sorry. Straight up. As we are just going to be setting up into this. What's up, Brennan Dibby? Oh, Brennan Deep coming in with the Twitch Prime sub as well. Thank you so much for subscribing with your Twitch Prime. And using it here on the channel does go a long way to supporting. And it does help a lot. Thank you very much. Do appreciate it. Let's see some love in the chat for another couple of subs that have been coming in the last few... or the last half hour or so. As Queen's coming in from both players here on Lost and Found, a map by Zweck. Gives you this setup of just being able to kind of run around and run through the center of the map, etc. Kind of, it's an interesting one that we really haven't seen a longer game on still. I feel as though out of all the games, we really have just seen super short ones on this. It's been very all-in-y, very aggressive. And honestly, it might stay that way with Solar and Bly playing here, especially Bly. He's been playing a mix of builds so far. Obviously, that Nidus attacking game number 2 and the, well, attempt to Mutalisk in game 1. Neither has led to very long games just yet in this series. Remember that after this series we do have one final matchup for you guys today, which is Innovation versus Mana. Best of 5. Mana comes in as a replacement for Björn. Mana finished 3rd place in the group which Björn did advance out of, and Björn didn't decide to cancel the day to play in a different event. And that is the reason that he is not here right now. I think Solar's going to take this as an improvement in the chat. Maybe Bly can do some weird thing and take another game, but not the series. As we already see, Bly, Lair, Roachroar, and Evo Chambers at the front, looking so similar to the last game. I wonder if he just tries the same thing twice in a row and just tries to catch Solar off guard, who is playing differently. Played without gas for quite some time here, which means he has a bit of a better eco, but will take the double gas now to catch him up with Ling Speed or so if he wants Ling Speed. He might just go straight into Roachroar and Evo Chamber and actual Roach play. Generally, it's the way that it used to be. When you skipped the gas early, you went into double gas later. And then you would just get your Roach roaring up and you just go straight to Roaches. And it was kind of abusable because if your opponent got Ling Speed, they could take a faster 3rd hatchery. But because neither player got Ling Speed here, it means that neither of them really have the reason... Well, neither of them really have a reason to delay the 3rd hatch. But maybe neither of them know that they can take a faster 3rd hatch as well at the moment. Just going to see these couple of Queens taking off those Zerglings there at the front. +1 missile so far along here from Bly. That's one of the benefits he has because he mined gas from the start and just didn't start ling speed. He has the layer up already, right? So he's on a bit of a head start on the +1. He's got a bit of a head start on the roach speed, and that's going to be very beneficial for him. As we do see the couple of queens here able to target down this Overlord, and it does get picked off. So that Overlord going down, solo with a nice snipe there. That's just going to be seen. Those units gathering together out the front. It's just going to be seen the third hatchery on the right side. It's going to be taken by both, actually. Third hatch here and a third hatch there. Both of these players begin to expand at a similar time. I mean, again, it's just weird because Bly's going to have the roach speed. Look at how he's hiding it as well, though, by the way. Hiding his roaches in the back, and he's going to move across the map now. With roach speed on his side, he's got that +1 advantage to the Overseer's. Just going to see it here, perhaps, in a second. Okay, yeah, he definitely sees it. So Solo knows what's up. He did just start another round of drones. Now he's going to go right back into roach production. Let's see if it's going to work out. Again, I mean, Bly, even if he's only even or just a bit ahead in army supply, he also has the +1 attack upgrade for a little bit. That might be enough to swing momentum into his favor. Let's see if it is. Obviously, the defensive position from Solo does have advantages too. He's going to have the queens. He's going to have the short reinforcement distance, and those are immediately big positives. You can just see right away here, Bly does not have enough to actually take that fight. Cannot commit in, and instead has to pull back around the top side and attack in towards the third hatch instead. Roaches are still able to push away here. In the end, I guess yellow versus red roaches aren't the most terrible of things on this map. Might have been a lot worse if we actually had Ling Bane against Ling Bane. That could have been a true disaster. As we see Bly going straight into +2 missiles. So will Solar, who should be heading towards... He actually does have his roach speed up, so he's had his lair finish for just a little while now. I may have been incorrect in saying he didn't have it previously when he did. But it was definitely much faster lair from Bly, and that's why he had that roach speed earlier. Nonetheless, as we are going to be seeing. Bly still positioning himself. Overseer is coming in and taking that high ground as well. As we see this Overseer from Solar is going to get pushed away by the Queen. So Queen doing a good job of that. Just trying to deny information. Obviously Solar wants to pick up info. Keeping Overseers alive if you can get the energy to contaminate, though, could slow down an upgrade later in the game. That could be important. Even if you don't hit the upgrades, the hatchery slowing down some injects can always make the difference. You never know when that lack of an inject means the lack of a larva to defend the attack. Lurker-Den already on the way from Bly. He's been trying to go Lurker-Den a couple of games here and there, looking to play that very macro-focused style of play in the ZvZ. Lurker's definitely been a big part of the later game scenarios, as you're going to be seeing. Well, Solar, the thing is, he's not been taken up at all, and look at his army supply, 120 to 82. I just don't know how he keeps doing this. Time after time after time. Solar is just finding himself in this position where he finds himself ahead on eco for multiple minutes, so he makes more roaches, and he just goes across the map and attacks. And honestly, it was the very simple kind of way in which Snoot kind of lost yesterday. It wasn't that Solar played, I would say, kind of like outplayed him or anything, outsmarted him. Solar just had more stuff all of the time. He just knew when to drone, and because he knew when to drone, he was taking leads, and when he was taking leads, he was playing out those leads as well. So it was a very interesting little scenario. As you see those extra few Ravagers finishing up, and his +2 finishes very soon. Be surprised if Solar didn't go across the map, because he is maxed out. If he can push across now, just before Lurker's finished morphing, he could maybe pick up that victory, put himself onto match point, but he isn't moving. +2's finished, but he's actually just going to invest in a tunneling claws and borrow as well, I imagine, and looks though Solar's just not interested in being aggressive at all. As an Overseer here, we'll see those Lurkers on the way up. Solar now getting his army into action, moving through the south side. All the way across over to the far right, so I'm going to be looking to do a little bit more here as this Overlord does get sniped down. Obviously the corrosive bars, 4 of them to take down an Overlord. 60 damage each time, 180 health Overlord means it does... Sorry, 200 health Overlord means it does need all 4 bars. 180 damage is done by a triple bile. And then you need 20 more to actually kill it, so 4 bars in total. It's a nice little something though, because it slows Bly down. He's supply blocked right now because of it, and There's things like that, which again obviously just puts Solar into more advantages as the game goes on. He's not going to attack this Overlord. I wonder if he just thinks it's his own because of the colours. Honestly, I wouldn't blame him. I could totally get behind that. As you can see, now those Corrosive Blasts coming down on Bly will lose the Overlord, so apparently Solar doesn't think it's his own. And gets in position over here where another Overlord is just sat waiting, so Solar is picking up damage over time. His own Hydralisk Den now begins to stop, but man oh man, is that going to take a long time to finish. By the time that does finally come up here, it's just going to be it's so difficult to imagine how that's going to be. I just feel there's going to be such a long time until Lurkers are out here from Solar. We're talking an entire 2 minutes away still. 86 seconds build time in the Lurk Den plus 20 seconds morph time. It's basically 2 minutes still, and well, he's going to have to fight without Lurkers for that time or survive without Lurkers for that long. Right now, Bly's defending well. Lurkers over here and Lurkers over there. Couple Corrosive Bars and a little push in initially does get a couple of kills, but it's definitely not going to be efficiency unless he gets, again, Lurkers fighting over his own. This is when ZvZ gets a little bit weird, because look, if his Lurker clearly isn't very kind of exciting, or I guess not even exciting, but like it's just not very dynamic. So you're going to see some run-bys starting to happen. Bly is already across the map as well. We're going to put Bly's run-by in the picture-in-picture, which is starting to pick off the third hatchery here, as Solar's roaches are actually already being forced to burrow once again. Such a pretty good shutdown as Bly will just get this hatchery over on this side. He gets a couple of drones on the very end as well, perhaps, but man, just killing the hatchery, well, that is nice. Solar does have another fourth base coming up, and I guess that'll keep him kind of around. As in the end, Bly maybe lost a few too many roaches there to justify just killing the hatch. I was going to see these roaches are going to pop up again, and well, does he outnumber this roach fight here? No, not really. So he drops back down underground. The upgrades are now even 2-1 apiece. As the Spire's still coming up from Bly. I'm just going to be seeing Solar again, ready to, well, try and attack in again, but maybe it's time to throw down an infestation rate. Maybe it's time to go towards the Hive Tech here. Going towards the Vipers, maybe that's just what he needs to actually be able to fight through this. Those Vipers, they can add abduct into the equation. They can abduct those Lurkers in. They can unburrow them because of it. Or you can Blinding Cloud as well to minimize where the Lurkers can attack from. That generally forces them to lift up and relocate too, which also is your chance to maybe jump on them and to clean them out nice and quickly. A few more Ravagers finished down here to the south side, and just going to be seeing still the opportunity perhaps to move on through here. Oh, those Lurkers move in time for Bly to keep them alive against the Biles. Another couple of Biles. This time Bly doesn't see it in time, although he does get his Ravagers jumped on top of Solar. Bly's able to get a few of those Ravager kills and doesn't lose many roaches in the process. Bly coming across the map once more, but Solar sees it coming, so he should begin to be prepared. I mean, what's he got at the moment? Actually, nothing at all at home. Oh man, well, this is going to be a little bit painful. He's actually Solar starting to pull back home right away here. As Bly's going to start working his way through this hatchery, also chasing some drones up to the top side. Just trying to maximize the damage he can deal, as at the same time Lurkers of Bly do defend over on this side, able to push those roaches away once more. So Bly is still putting himself into good positions at the moment. There's going to be seeing more of these roaches and Ravagers of Solar continuing to fight away. More roaches of Bly disappearing, but he's done some damage. He's picked off Solar's economy. Solar's down by 16 workers, and Bly, he's down a bit in army supply, but he's got Lurkers on his side. But the Vipers coming through, maybe that's what Solar needs to break through the Lurkers no matter what. There's more roaches running to the third base. I mean, more drones going down, and Solar's economy is really starting to be in shambles now. 39 workers to the 65. We're almost talking about double the worker counts. As Bly, when did the mutas come out? Oh my god, I mean, talk about catching me off guard. Never mind Solar. He had a few Hydras coming through, and he's building more now as these mutas come into play, and he's actually going to start getting a lot done. I mean, for these roach attacks in the last few moments, he's been shutting down a lot of the units here and there, which goes a long ways. Obviously, the Burrow is actually saving our Yellow Zerg players' units for the moment. And we've seen a couple of Queens here, which he's going to come in and attack into. He misses a Transfuse Bly. Solar, and now he will start to hit those transfusions of the Mutalists, and maybe not doing quite enough. More roaches on the way up. Gonna find himself a Viper here. That should be a transfuse though. Surely there's a transfuse nearby, but he doesn't quite get it. Solar making some mistakes of his own as Bly really just doing all sorts here, as again the Lurker's still in position, and Solar for the second or third time finds himself unable to push through that location. Very, very unfortunately. More of these roaches coming through the south side, and we are going to see roaches, Ravagers, and Hydras of Solar coming in to fight against this as well. We've seen the mutas back over here do find themselves an overseer at the very least, and I just have to apologize for not seeing the Spire and the mutas in the production tab at all. Just so much else going on in the map at the same time. There's going to be seeing more Hydras now coming up as well here from Bly. You can see the groove spines on the way, so he's continuing to improve his Hydras. Initially, those Hydras were all about getting the lurkers on the map. Obviously, now it's a very different scenario. As actually seen these Hydras able to fight back a little bit. Bly has to pull back with his mutas. How many on the map still? He has 13. That's a lot of Hydras from Soul with 2-1 upgrades. I don't think 13 mutas can really fight for now, though he will find an Overlord on his way out through the south side. And there's still these burrowed roaches over here. If he gets an Overseer with this army, these mutas are going to start getting so much more done. 15 minutes in, it's another set of harassment to the top side, although it won't last forever. Spinecrawler already chipping away. The roaches and ravages are quick to come in and respond as well, so those roaches are going to go down. And now mutas up into the main, pulls the Hydras over there, and Bly's keeping Solar on his own side of the map. Not just on his own side of the map, but inside his own bases. We're going to see these lurkers burrow just as roaches run forwards. Disaster strikes for Solar. Bly kills off so many roaches here, and all of a sudden, Bly really does maybe have control of this game well and truly. Mutas are going to pick away a couple of roaches at the front of this army as the Hydras are out of range. Now Bly's just coming across the map with his entire ground army, looking for a fight here. I'm going to burrow those lurkers there, but maybe he just wants to rotate around to this south side and push into this fourth base. That would be a huge deal, as he's going to get the lurker den of Solar, perhaps? I mean, he should definitely kill it before Digging Claws or Adaptive Talents finishes now. And he does get that kill, so he denies that. Solar gets a few lurkers on the way up, but, I mean, they're just morphing, and are they going to be able to morph in time? Man, the lurker den, 86 seconds to rebuild that. That's going to take what feels like an eternity to rebuild. As you see a couple lurkers going down as they get into this top side spot. You're going to be seeing, though, Bly is using it as a chance to push on forwards, as we're going to see the mutas back down to the south, picking their way through so very much here. Another couple of Overlords going down. Now these Hydras taking some damage as well. Is there just too many mutas? Well, the parasitic bombs are huge. He splits away. I'm not even sure. I think he dropped a parasitic bomb on the Mutalisk, which actually then got targeted by the Hydras, so it died before the parasitic bomb became active. Because I'm pretty sure he dropped 2 there. As we're going to be seeing the lurkers now making their way up into this position. And oh, well, Bly doesn't actually have an Overseer here. So this is going to be messy for him. He's going to lose quite a lot. He still has some of the lurkers to the right side staying alive, though, as the mutas back in overhead on the fourth base. Drones going down once again. Hydras are still trying to push through this position. The Blinding Clouds miss initially. These Hydras are still doing what they can, picking away at some of those Vipers if they can get themselves on top of them for long enough. Mutas there pick off the hatchery, and Solar just doesn't have enough, and Bly takes the lead in this series. He's 1 map away. Just, god damn, I cannot see my units for the life of me. I don't even know what's going on. It's confusing. Honestly, I feel it's difficult to watch. I've been talking to some of the other casters who think it's kind of fine. They think it's kind of nice. As we get into this one, we better talk about these builds, because it's going to be aggressive from the get-go here on Travancore. To the top right-hand side, our yellow Zerg player from Splice. It is Solar. And to the bottom left-hand side, our red Zerg player from Team Expert, Bly. Yeah, I had a great moment in that last game where I missed the mutas and they showed up. But isn't that what everyone wants? They want no production tab like Brood War had, and so it was all a surprise. Suddenly mutas, it's like, whoa, the hype! Nah, it was pretty sick though. It was pretty sick as we get into this game number 4 here, Solar versus Bly. Remember, after this we still have Innovation versus Mana to bring you guys. Another best of 5 series to wrap up our quarterfinals. The winner of this series right now, Solar or Bly, will go up against Sue in the semifinals, while Nurture will be awaiting the winner of Innovation or Mana. As we get set up into this is a 12 pool into gas, so Bly is already looking to play, well, not completely all in, because he actually saves up enough minerals to get the hatchery despite 12 pool and gas. Wow, how very interesting. So he will get Ling Speed despite the hatch. Wow, I wonder if this is some sort of build that's going to throw Solar off if he sees that hatchery. I mean, he's going to see these initial Lings now, so he knows about the 12 pool. Solar, fortunately for himself, did go pool first, so already a bit of a build order advantage on his side. As you do see, those Zerglings going to be arriving into the natural in the next couple of moments. There's going to be seeing a couple of drones pulling down to the low ground as well to fight this a little bit, as we do see the... Again, the rest of the Lings just arriving and going to continue pushing on towards this. And again, as that overload comes across, it really doesn't look as though it's going to be a setup which includes Ling speed, but maybe that's Bly's plan. Maybe that's where he catches Solar off guard, and maybe that's where he gets the damage done to make up for what has currently been no damage at all, because the 12 pull from Solar really has just become the hard counter here in game number 4. So far, Bly has not achieved anything, but he's stacking up more Lings. The plan is to keep these hidden, to flood them across the map all at once, so Solar has very little chance to actually see what's going on. You can see already here, Solar is building drones. He's setting up in towards a more macro-focused game, as Bly pulls all the way back here at the moment. You'll see the rest of those Zerglings going to continue coming down, and I'm going to see this skirmish very soon, perhaps, as again that Ling speed's going to be finishing up. I'm just going to be seeing still Zerglings and Solar out in the center. Bly, though, I mean, now he's about to get Ling speed. He's about to run across the map. He's using this Queen to poke back the Overlord a bit to try and hide what's happening. And he wants to go across here as soon as possible. And Solar does have the Spine Crawler behind this. And he does have a little bit of a wall up. And oh, the Lings are just going to block here for the moment or two. And that's going to be good enough as this Queen's still pushing this Overlord away. Bly, his dive, this all-in attempt is maybe just going to fall apart because of this wall off. How do you break this? 12 drones behind this on Bly. He's 10 workers down as a Rotoron's on the way as well. Do you break this? Well, obviously Bly thinks you do. He's making more Zerglings. He's going to go for this in the next couple of moments. The Rotoron of Solar is just about to finish. And as it finishes up, we're going to be seeing more Lings of Solar coming out, though. And now you can build some Roaches, too. There's really no way Bly surely breaks this down. And he doesn't even have a Baneling Nest to utilize here, as he's transferred all of his drones to the low ground. I don't really know why he did that, but well, maybe we'll see soon. He's still stacking up more Lings. Again, maybe just making it look as though he only has this out here right now. Maybe trying to get Solar to overcommit when he feels a bit more confident, like he just maybe did there. Moving forwards a little bit at that point. Lings having to be careful as the Queen's attacking those Lings once again with another shot or two. The lair is on the way up here as well from Solar. By the way, this map based on a Diablo theme, Travancore, and is got a treasure goblin on it because of that. An Avex map as well, by the way, the creator of Blackpink, the winner of the last 2 map contests. And still poking around as Bly. How long do you mass up Lings for before you just commit into it? I don't know. Couple of Roaches starting to come out, and Bly's just going to pull away. But again, when do you actually commit in towards this attack? When do you fully just go for the dive in? It's going to come out onto the map now. This Overseer, is because it's Morven, doesn't have the vision, so we are going to see the Lings able to get across here. And as they come all the way through the top side, and just going to be seeing the Queen working its way through the Overseer. He looks as though, I mean, he's just realized it, right? Solar. He's making another Evo chamber to complete the wall off just in case he needs more. And we're going to see Lings already jumping into this. I mean, the rest of the Lings are about to arrive. There's one Ling blocking the door at the moment to just hold this off. And now the rest of the Lings holding it off as well. Queens have transfused energy. I mean, that Spinecrawler just will not go down. He'll dive the main base. Obviously, the Spinecrawler is not. But now it's difficult to reinforce. And those drones just pull away. As we're going to be seeing these Roaches all continue to fight away onto this. And again, Lings with that full surround, able to keep on working their way through. The Roaches taking so much damage. As we see drones getting back in towards the top side of this. And Bly's going to type out GG, because he knows it's not enough. Travancore goes the way off Solar. And we are working our way up here, apparently, from a 3-0 in our first quarterfinal to 3. Thank you for rejoining us post-break. As we have the top left-hand side, Yellow Zerg from Splice. It is Solar. Going up against the Red Zerg to the bottom left-hand side from Team Expert, it's Bly. Thank you very much for everyone for joining me today as well, of course, as we're on System Shop, a map by Zweck here for map number 5. A spawning pool first from both, neither of them taking a risk here in the 5th and final map of this series. As we are just going to be seeing those pools coming through, hatcheries dropping down, and gases taken behind it as well. We are, by the way, going to be seeing a. We are going to be seeing some More StarCraft after this as well. Innovation versus Mana in our final series of the day. Then we're going to have a little bit of a look at the Go for SC2 bracket, and if it's looking good, if it's looking fun, we might have a little bit of a join-in over on Go for SC2. Depends how we're feeling, depends what you guys think as well, perhaps. If you guys want to see some Go for, if the bracket looks good, we probably will. But we have to check that out, we'll have to figure it out. For now, let's go in game, introduce some players. Thank you again for being patient. There's obviously Solar's top left, Bly's bottom left. And we go into this interesting map here because, well, we saw this already in the ZvZ earlier, right, between Sue and Alaza, where basically Sue basically used as a way to counterattack very quickly and to get across the map and to... was it Sue Alaza that used this map? Oh, let me just double check that quickly, because I feel as though I've just memed myself and said something not true. Yeah, it was the first map with Sue Alaza. And of course there's that map where, Alaza ran in and he lost all of his lings to that Baneling. And Sue was setting up into roaches, but never actually got to use them because Alaza tapped out pretty quickly. I remember now. Sometimes you just need a moment to jog your memory, some confirmation that it's true to go from there. Now I saw Lambo in the chat talking a little bit about this map before as well. And he said, actually, one of the glaring problems with this map is that whoever spawns on the bottom has a massive advantage. Because if you take this watchtower, you can see what your opponent is making off of the hatchery at all times because you can see the lava. Which is absolutely insane. It's absolutely crazy, actually, like how much of an advantage that is. It actually straight up just breaks ZvZ. So that's kind of worrying. And that's maybe one of the biggest flaws that System Shock has here. But I do wonder about these these watchtowers anyways, because players haven't used them too much, and I think beyond that, they don't actually give too much information to the players who kind of scout them, because usually he only gives up this here. So against anyone other than a Zerg, I guess it doesn't really matter, because a Town of Pros just won't put tech behind here. But again, ZvZ, or in, I guess, other Zerg matchups as well, it can have an effect. So, interesting scenario as we are going to be seeing. These Lings approaching the front. These Queens, though, are able to push those Zerglings away. And a drone behind this Wolof is getting ready to perhaps throw down. What do you throw down right now as Bly? Actually, he was getting set to build something. His lair finishes. Is it a Nidus plan? What's the game plan, Bly? Because he started up +1 attack. And he has also got the, he's got Roach Speed potentially ready to join into play as well here very soon. Also going to be seeing Roach Speed starting up, so... yeah, I wonder what that drone was doing. Maybe just ready to kind of build a full-on wall-off number 2 in case the Lings did commit and do damage. Anyways, Roach Speed, +1 attack, sorry, starts up from Solar as well. While he goes into his own lair, so he's a little bit behind in that, and that will not really give Bly massive openings, but it will give him some opportunities where Roach Speed and +1 is done. Especially on a smaller map like this, he definitely could make something happen, but... you got to remember that then he's going to have to move through a little bit of a choke point like this, or come all the way around here, up there, and then down here, which is obviously not super easy or super quick to do at all. So, let's see just what the plan is. I mean, it's definitely a plan to attack from Bly. He's only making roaches off of 38 workers. He's very content to just sit on his current drone count. The thing is, Solar is doing the exact same thing, just with a slow +1. I wonder if the reinforcement distance is short enough here from Bly to be able to just make this attack work out anyways. Pushes those Lings away for now. They're going to be an annoyance on the map. It's something Solar has that Bly doesn't. He got the Ling speed. Bly bypassed it in those early stages. As we do have the Lings moving all the way to the right-hand side. I feel as though we just haven't even seen the right-hand side of System Shock a single time so far. It feels as though it's just part of the map we just never get to see, because we've never really seen a game go past the early stages on this map. It is a map from the new category, not necessarily rush, but it definitely does have that rushy aspect to it. Here we go then, Bly with his Roach Speed and +1 attack. Let's see if he can get enough done. I just think it's going to be so difficult for him to find a location to attack in. I mean, he does go up this ramp. He has to go up this ramp. But then I guess he targets the hatchery, perhaps. Hatchery's just going to cancel, so already Solar giving him a lot of respect, knowing that he's got +1. Knowing that he might just have to pull back here to be able to fight this as Bly gets the first good few shots off with these roaches. Lings on their way back as well here from Solar, as I just don't think Bly can do much more. Now those Lings are going to trap him in, though. It means that Solar can pick up a couple of kills. His own Roach Speed finishing, his +1 is done, and so Solar does get a few kills on the back of this here. Bly will reinforce, though, and he's going to get ready to maybe split up those units and greet those units coming on down. Looks as though Solar will give up chasing, however, and things even out here in game number 3 of this best-of-5 quarterfinal. Game number 5 of this best-of-5 quarterfinal. Sometimes numbers in my head just don't work. I think of a number and I say the wrong one. It's like math dyslexia or something. Even though I'm kind of good at math. Off stream. Anyways, going to be seeing this Overseer is just sat up overhead, as we are going to be seeing some Zerglings sat over to the right side, as more of these Overlords are gathering up together for Solar over in the main base. He's getting a few more Overlords joined up together here, +2 missile attack on the way for both players as well. I'm just going to be seeing the Hydralist Den of Bly. We'll be finishing up very, very soon. A couple of Queens targeting this Overseer as well, doing a little bit more damage, pushing it away. A couple of changes dropping down from it also. As our Overseer goes all the way up here. Can't fly back home, of course, because this is an air blocker. Can only go this far, which I think is where Solar tried to click. I don't think he tried to fly past. They were both very aware that it's an air blocker early in the game with where they send their Overlords. So, that's a big positive as we go see. Oh, no, he's clicking it kind of badly there, and so it does go down to the Queen. Unfortunately, Solar loses out on that one, as we're going to be seeing Roaches and a couple of Ravagers joining together as well. Just going to be seeing a lot of Roaches on the way out from Bly. He's throwing down a Spire as well, so he's going for that middleless transition here. Gotta say, it feels dangerous on a map which is so short a distance between the two players' bases. Spire about 75% of the way done as the Overseer sees this big round of Roaches coming across. Well, Solar has to get ready to set up to deal with that. I mean, that's a lot of Roaches as well. 40 against 28 plus the few Ravagers. And now Bly pulls back. He's just been forcing another set of Roaches out, and now he's just drawing himself a little bit further. I mean, as his Spire finishes here, he's going to have what? Well, as his Spire finishes, he's going to have about enough money to make 7 or 8 meters. It's not a huge amount. It's definitely a decent amount, though. It's definitely something you can do, you know, you can get something done with. As those 4 Ravagers on the way up, the Roaches gathering 2 on the third base. We're going to be seeing this Overseer from Solar through the south side. Corrosive Bars dropping, and the Overlord continues to patrol around. We're going to see another few Corrosive Bars, and does just miss on the final one. That Overlord lasting a little bit longer than it maybe should. Once again, if the meters coming through... Oh, I mean, Bly obviously does have +2 a little bit sooner, but not too much. He needs to defend this attack right now, and he's moving out of position. Bly's moving up while Solar moves down to the south. That's bad for him. The mutas are going to jump on this as the Roaches of Bly will go across to base trade. Obviously, he really wants to do this. I mean, I'm not sure these mutas are really going to be able to slow down this damage being dealt by all too much. Obviously, Bly feels it's the best option for him, as he's going to, well, be a bit late on the base trade. There's the positive for Bly, is that eventually these mutas are never going to be dealt with if he can stop anti-air units from coming into play. Is that his straight up plan? It very well may be here, as we're going to be seeing some Queens getting picked off. That one Ravager that did come home gets picked off almost instantly, as Roach is moving up into the main, and Bly just making more Mutalisks. So more mutas on the way. This could work, because if there isn't anything to ever deal with the Mutalisks, well, I mean, eventually Solar does lose out his army on this side of the map, right? That is a true feature, you know. I mean, not maybe feature's the wrong word, but eventually loses his army on this side of the map. As he loses this army, well, Bly still has Roaches left. Bly has mutas as well. And right now, Bly is in a fantastic position in game number 5. Bly may be on the verge of a bit of an upset here. Oh my gosh. Is he actually going to knock out Solar as semi-finalist from the last map contest tournament? Yes, he is! GG! Bly is going to take it 3 games to 2. And we have got at least 2 foreigners in the semi-finals. It guarantees us